Take Me to the Moon.
Take Me to the Moon.
I see.
And it is on the 26th and 27th of March this month, and the 2nd and 3rd of April.
Oh, okay.
And we are rolling out our early bird tickets, which is a form of advanced tickets where people get to buy our tickets at a huge discount. And it is available from now till the 13th of this month.
Okay.
And to get a copy, just dial *713 *5 *5 hash. *713 *5 *5 hash. And you'll get yourself a ticket. The rest of the announcement and the information will be on this network, so just stay tuned.
Okay.
This is the 10th and final installment of my series, Conversations with a Thief. The year was 1983. I was working as a creative editor for a book publishing company located on the 2nd floor of a 4-story building on the Accra New Town Pehe Road. My home was on the same floor. One Saturday morning, a young man walked in to inquire about the possibility of publishing his manuscript. That chance meeting threw me into the middle of an international police manhunt for a syndicate of armed robbers operating in West Africa. The young man was a member of the syndicate, and the police were tracking him. Episode 9 ended with the young man coming back for my comments on his manuscript on Monday, with the police waiting for him. He has said he would turn up at 10 a.m. and exactly at 10 he did. I was surprised and relieved that he had kept his promise, but my heart was pounding. I was puzzled at how cool and relaxed he seemed. Here was a young man who knew that the police was waiting for him, but he acted as if he did not know that he was in any trouble. The CID inspector and his colleague were pretending to be browsing through some books on display in the reception, but the young man acted as if he had not seen them. He walked into my office and said, "Good morning, Mr. White. You said you asked me to come for a feedback on my manuscript today, and so I have come." As soon as the young man settled into a chair, the inspector stormed the office, pulled out his gun, and said, "You're under arrest." The young man, with the swiftness of a cat, sprang over the desk, put me in a chokehold with one hand, hauled me up to my feet, and put a gun he had drawn out of his jacket at my head, all in one smooth and swift move. A move so fast that the police had no time to react. He used me as his shield and shouted at the police, "Drop your guns or I'll blow his head off." The police hesitated. He tightened his hold on me and pushed the gun firmer against my head. I resigned myself to my fate. I was very sure that I was not going to come out of this alive. A strange calmness descended on me. Is this what it feels like when one can see death standing before him? I wondered. The standoff was tense. The police were determined not to let him escape arrest, and the suspect had no plans of surrendering. He said, "You'll not take me alive. I'll kill him before you can get me. I'm going to count to 3. If you don't put your guns down, I will shoot him, and then we will have a gunfight." The inspector said, "Look, don't make your situation worse. You must know that there is no way you can escape today. Give it up, my friend. You cannot get away." The young man said, "This is Ghana. Thieves get away with it all the time." He said, "You hound thieves like me who steal a laptop, some jewelry, and some money from a home. What about the thieves who rob the nation by negotiating unfavorable contracts and agreements, provided their personal pockets are lined? What about the thieves who steal from the nation? They get away with murder, and if they do, so will I. I am going to count to 3. 1, 2. Meanwhile, the chokehold was choking me. The police calculated the possible loss of lives and saw my distress, and they put their guns down. The inspector said, "Let him go." The suspect motioned with his gun, with his hand with a gun, now pointing at the police, who had their hands in the air, and said, "Move." They moved as directed to the corner of the office, and the door, with no stopper, closed by itself. Just then, a loud bang shook the room. I thought a bomb had been thrown into the room, but I quickly discovered that a large concrete object had been thrown at the door and shattered it. The two huge men in police combat gear, heavily armed with machine guns and with bulletproof vests and helmets, burst in. Special operations unit, they said, drop your gun. One of them holding a machine gun shouted at the suspect. The suspect said, I'll blow his head off. And then what? The policeman said, you are coming with us, dead or alive, your choice. The fierce look and demeanor and the fact that they had superior gun power told the suspect that the game was over. I felt the suspect making a calculation. He could shoot me, but if he did, the armed police would pump him with bullets. It seemed to me that these armed policemen were looking for an excuse to kill him. The suspect released me and pushed me out of the way. He dropped his gun. As he did so, the second armed policeman sprang into action. He quickly collected the gun and the ones dropped by the inspector and his colleague, handcuffed the suspect and spoke into his walkie-talkie, package in hand. I repeat, package in hand. The two armed policemen quickly whisked him out of the office. They had not gone for 2 seconds when the inspector exclaimed, Jesus Christ! He dashed for the door as he said, they are not police. His colleague also exclaimed, Jesus, and bolted for the door after the inspector. The inspector stopped and bent over and pulled a gun, a hidden gun from his socks, and continued his run. I poked my head out of the door. The inspector did not make for the staircase. Instead, he jumped from the second floor. His colleague took the stairs. I hurried to the balcony. The inspector landed on the concrete floor with his feet and went into a neat rollover. By now, the two imposers with the suspect had jumped into a waiting taxi. He took off before the doors were closed. The inspector shouted, stop! The taxi screeched off towards Caprice. The inspector fired at the tie. The car began to swerve. The two men who had posed as police and the driver and the young man got out of the car and began firing warning shots into the air. People ran for cover. The men stopped an oncoming saloon car at gunpoint, pulled out the owner out of the car. One of them took over the steering while the others jumped in. The driver shifted the gear into reverse and sped down the road towards Caprice. The inspector ran for his vehicle with his colleague and took off after them. I was trembling. It felt like a movie. It had all taken less than 2 minutes. The saloon car was later found abandoned at Caprice. The four men had made their escape with motorbikes. A crowd gathered. Then I became aware of dampness around my thigh. I looked down and saw a wet dark spot around the flap of my trousers. Someone had peed on my trousers. Winston, it had to be someone because I did not remember peeing on myself.
I can understand.
And that is the end of the story.
Oh, it was worth it. Wow, but the end, Uncle, I mean, so the same guys came there, pretended that they were policemen, and whisked him away.
The mystery is where they got the police, and it was full combat gear. You know, the kind where you don't even see the face of the person. Those things, fully armed, came in there and took the guy away. But the inspector was later on. This is later on when he came back to collect to take the manuscript from the guy had left behind as evidence, and he said that he discovered he could tell they were not Ghana police because of the accent of the guy who spoke into the walkie-talkie and said, package in hand, package in hand. Is there something about that voice, that accent, told him, this is not Ghanaian. Okay. But by that time, the guys are taking advantage of the surprise element and they were gone.
All right, Uncle, thank you very, very much for this one. Indeed, it's been worth the wait, having to wait for the 10th episode. Do have a lovely day.
Yeah, you too, and have a lovely week.
Thank you very much, Uncle White, for joining us with Food for Thought. Time now for the Joy Business Minute, brought to us by Consolidated Bank Ghana CBG. We stand with you and NCA Insurance, the real face of insurance.
Hello, welcome to the Joy Business Minute. It is brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you and NCA Insurance. NCA, the real face of